Hey there, how's it going? Personally, I'm a bit off lately. I kind of lost track on why I started this whole thing. YouTube, photography. So in this video, I will go through a lot of things, mainly talking, honestly, is a open talk with you and consider it as a reset for everything. I have some notes here because so many things to say, but let's start with an origin story. So before I became a photographer, I studied and worked as an architect for over 10 years. You know, back in the high school, I had to choose between design and graphic arts. And graphic arts basically was about graphic, of course, and photography. And guess what I chose? Design. Back in the days, I was like in love with architecture and in love with design, so going to design school made more sense to me. Probably yes, if I had chose the graphic school, maybe I would have discovered photography earlier, but that's life and probably I would have lost many things along the way. Besides that, anyway, during high school, I started falling in love with photography. Well, mainly because of Instagram. So when Instagram came out the first time, everyone was using it and I was starting documenting my life daily, basically. I was not doing photography properly, honestly. I was just snapping photos every day and uploading them on my Instagram account. So without any photography knowledge at all. In fact, back in the days, I didn't have any camera just besides my iPhone. So I was snapping iPhone photos all day. The more I was using Instagram, taking photos and discovering new people like real photographers, I was feeling a bit bad. Anyway, life was moving on and I didn't solve my problems. And so when I found myself around the first and the second year of university, I was feeling so bad for many things, of course, that I went to therapy. And one of the hardest things that I had to deal with was feeling stuck. I was feeling trapped in a life that I had chosen, the architecture, but no longer wanted. You know, back in the days, I remember people like Alex Stroll, Joe Greer, Chris Burkhardt, going around, traveling a lot, taking photos, beautiful photos, honestly, making a living with photography, and everything about that was a dream for me. But instead of doing something about it, like actually trying to follow that dream, I let fear win. I somehow buried that dream and kept going with my architectural life. And there is a reason behind that, because I was feeling guilty of doing something that was not related with my studies. I invested a lot of money and a lot of time in architecture, so switching for me was not the right thing to do. Anyway, photography was still a passion for me, and after my second degree, my parents gifted me a Canon 200D. And from there, everything changed. I started learning photography mostly through YouTube, like most of the people that didn't attend a photography school, and discovered people like Peter McKinnon, which gave me basically all the basics that I need to start shooting. And slowly photography started taking over. Even while working as a full-time architect, I was investing a lot of money on camera gear and online workshops. And I was especially drawn to Alex Stroll Wildest workshops. And I guess that's when I truly fell in love with outdoor photography. Then COVID hit and I started questioning myself a lot, like everyone else, about my life, about my job, about my long-term goals. And like a lot of people, again, I decided to quit my job. So without a real plan or without any actual clients, I decided that I want to be a photographer. I was scared, but I gave me 5 years, and if I was not making a living with photography in those 5 years, I said, yeah, I have my degree, so it's like a parachute. If things are not going well, I simply can come back and keep working as an architect. Anyway, at that time I was 28, 29, so I was not like super young and I was feeling a bit late, honestly. Of course, I could make photos. I wasn't like a noob, like a super beginner. Maybe I was like in between beginner and mid-level. I didn't know anything about the business of photography or how to find clients. So for that part, I was completely beginner, but I was able to take photos at least, which didn't make me a photographer, but it was a start. So in the beginning, I did whatever I could do to make money. I was shooting like neck massagers, CBD gummies, or terrible Amazon wallets, anything just to pay rent and pay my bills. But little by little, I started building up a good portfolio. I started doing some spec work and applying what I learned through the online workshops. And so far, I made good results. And the more I was experimenting and shooting, the more I was realizing that travel and adventure and outdoor was my kind of thing. But instead of pursuing that direction like for real, I started making excuses. Instead of just traveling and making photos, I was saying, yeah, I don't have money to travel, or I don't have the skills to shoot ski and surf photography. And the truth is, honestly, that I was playing safe. I was not pushing, I was not challenging myself. I was just flying low. And even if it was okay doing average stuff, that stopped me from growing. Anyway, 5 years passed, and in that time, I built actually a good portfolio working with brands like Salomon, Nike, Maserati, Decathlon, and I also started this YouTube channel. And just like my photography journey, the goal here on YouTube was to shoot a lot of BTS stuff, documenting people, documenting travels. But for some reason, I drifted. I got pulled into street photography mainly just for convenience. Keeping up with one video per week is almost a full-time job, honestly, and the easiest thing to do was to just grab my camera, go out in the streets and taking photos. But to be honest, even though I learned a lot of things like new techniques, different ways to see photography and to see people around, I don't like street photography. I mean, I like to see street photos, but I don't like to actually go out and shoot street photography. So yeah, that brought me away from the main reason why I started all of this. Now, stepping back a bit, last year I met Alex Roll in person. I went to Croatia to help him filming his No One Sees series on YouTube as a filmmaker, and you can imagine how this thing was so damn good for me. I grew up as a photographer watching his workshops, and being there with him, actually helping him was, yeah, a dream. And that first encounter actually inspired me so much that I actually started my own YouTube channel. Then a few days ago, I had the privilege to join his Dolomite retreat as a filmmaker. And meeting him again, hearing his insights on the business of photography, watching him shooting, directing, and building up the whole Dolomite retreat, it all gave me a sort of wake-up call. I feel like I found a new spark, like I'm finally aligned with myself again. So yeah, I felt lost for a while, but now I see where I want to go. I want to pursue outdoor photography with a special focus on adventure and travel, and maybe documentary as well. And I want this channel to follow along my photography career. I want to document the whole process. I want to share some backstage stuff. I want to take you with me along my journey. So if you follow me for photography in general, I will bring in very cool stuff. But if you just follow me for street photography, I don't think this will be your thing anymore. And that's okay. Anyway, this video is a sort of reset, a way to being honest with myself and maybe with you as well, because maybe you felt the same way as me. Maybe you had moments where you didn't recognize your work anymore, or you get lost along the way, or again, felt scared about a change. And let me tell you one thing, in a world where everyone seems to figure it out what to do in their life, nobody really does. So this video is a reminder to say it's okay to question everything. And what really matters isn't just the final result, but it's the whole process. So what's next? On this channel, for sure, I will share more BTS stuff, more work, more travel content, more insights, maybe business related as well. And if any of these things resonates with you, leave a comment, share your experiences, because I'd love to know what you're going through, and it's also a good way to not feel alone in this mess. So yeah, I guess that's a new starting, and let's see you in the next video. Peace.